What's up guys, it's Josh from KeepItTechie back with another video, and today I got something a little bit different. I'm doing a tech upgrade. I'm installing this beast, the NVIDIA RTX A2000 12GB into my Dell PowerEdge T140 running Proxmox. But before we dive in, I want to give a quick shout out to the Tech Monkey here in Las Vegas. And in my opinion, they're one of the best custom PC shops here in town, handling everything from everyday PC repairs to building fully exotic custom PCs. And they also have over 25 years of experience. So you know they've got you covered. And that's not a sponsored spot. I'm just doing this out of the kindness of my heart because I really like those guys over at the Tech Monkey. They have really given me a lot of great information to help me with some of my bills here at the house, which ultimately helps my channel. But they originally recommended the first cord I purchased for this build, which unfortunately it didn't fit in my T140, but it got me going down the right path of looking at these low profile graphics cords that eventually led me to this A2000. So again, shout out to them for at least pointing me in the right direction. So, funny story. I actually went through two of these A2000 cords. The first one I bought was from a third-party seller on Amazon. Now, I usually avoid third-party sellers for this kind of purchase, but I thought I'd give it a shot. Now, when the cord arrived, it looked kind of sketchy. As you can see, took it out the box. I opened this up just to see, and I never even opened up and actually, let me take it out so you guys can verify. I never even took it out of their electronic paper or whatever to keep it protected. So, and all I did was put it back in now, but it doesn't come with any of the accessories. And as you can see, this is not an NVIDIA box at all. So, that's why I'm returning this. So, and that's only if the company tries to skate out or something or do something retorted. But Amazon, y'all gotta fix this, man. Like, these people selling us used products that's new, and it's not fucking new. It's really pissing me off. This is the third cord I done had to send back or return. All your products on your site, when it comes to electronics, or from scammers. They're trying to scam people. It didn't come with any of the original packaging, no extra hardware, and it was supposed to be new. So I returned that thing the same day I got it. Yeah, they had quick shipping, but you don't want to pay full price for a cord that might have been used for crypto mining, because those cords can be pretty beat up. So always record you unboxing just in case you need evidence for a return. And another quick tip, if you buy a GPU from a third-party seller and it doesn't look right, make sure you send it back immediately and make sure you document everything. You never know what's been done to it, especially with crypto mining being so hard on cords. Now, after returning that sketchy cord, I went straight to Newegg and found the A2000 sold and shipped by Newegg.com themselves. No more third-party sellers. I knew from getting it there, I'd get a legit product this time. Now, the shipping, it took about 2 days to get here, and I just received this brand new cord today. It came in the original packaging with all the accessories sealed from the factory. Exactly what you want to see when you're dropping some cash on a new GPU. Now, we all know GPUs are expensive, and this one was a bit more expensive than the previous one, but nothing against used cores. I just prefer to save up and buy new if I can, because I've had better luck with new products in the past. And honestly, who doesn't love that smell of a fresh factory sealed graphics card? You know it's legit when you're peeling off all those protective covers. So why did I pick the A2000? Well, this card is part of NVIDIA's Quadro Ampere lineup, built on the G106 architecture. It's got 3328 shader units, 104 texture mapping units, and 48 render output units, making it perfect for professional workloads, especially for running LLMs like Ollama on my Proxmox server, which is why I purchased this card. Now, what's really great is the 12 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory and the 104 tensor cores, which are perfect for machine learning and AI tasks. And the best part, it's a low profile dual slot core that fits into the tight confines of my T140. Now let's talk about why this core fits my setup. The PowerEdge T140's motherboard has a proprietary design, making it tough to fit larger 2-slot cores. Now, I originally tried a different quadro core, but it just wasn't happening, hence why I went with the A2000. And this core's compact design fits perfectly without bumping into the power connectors or the upright CMOS battery, which I thought was super weird. I never seen a motherboard with the CMOS battery looking like this. And maybe that's because I haven't opened up a computer in a while and looked at a lot of these newer motherboards. I've only ever seen a CMOS battery flat against a motherboard. But in terms of performance, the A2000 is a great choice when compared to other cores in its class. Now, the RTX A2000 operates at a base clock of 562 megahertz, but it boosts up to 1200 megahertz and provides 288 gigabits per second of memory bandwidth. Now, it's not a gaming monster, but it's more than capable of handling 1080p and 1440p gaming if you needed to. But for my use case with LLMs and AI tasks, it's got all the muscle I need without the power-hungry demands of a higher-end gaming core. And one cool thing about it is the efficiency. At 70 watts TDP, it doesn't require any additional power connectors. And as I've talked about with my T140 in the past, most things are proprietary, even the power supply. Like, you can't just put a aftermarket power supply into these Dell systems like that. So it's perfect for setups like mine where space and power are limited. All right, so enough talk, let's get this cord installed. And as always, make sure your server is powered off before doing any hardware work. Now, since this is a dual slot cord, but low profile, it's going to slide in nicely without the need for extra power connectors, which is a big plus for the T140. The install should be straightforward. Now, working in this tight case is like performing surgery. You gotta have steady hands and a lot of patience. But the A2000 is slim enough to fit in here without me having to move anything around. And there we go, fits like a glove. That's the kind of peace of mind you want when you're dealing with proprietary systems like this. Now let's jump into testing this setup and see how the A2000 performs. But first, let's hear from today's sponsor. Big thank you to CIQ, the creator of Rocky Linux, for sponsoring today's video. Rocky Linux is my go-to OS for stability, security, and performance. Whether you're running servers, virtual machines, or containers, it's an open source enterprise grade Linux distribution with long-term support. Perfect for those of us who need reliable performance in our home labs. So check out the link below to learn more and get started with Rocky Linux. All right, now that we got the cord installed, let's fire up Proxmox and see what we're working with. First, we'll go into the hardware settings to make sure Proxmox recognizes the A2000. And once it's confirmed, we'll assign it to one of my virtual machines for a GPU pass-through. And this is where the A2000's 104 tensor cores and ray tracing cores are going to come into play, especially for AI and machine learning workloads. Now, setting up GPU pass-through can be a bit tricky, but once you've got it, the A2000 takes over all the heavy lifting. And this means faster performance for our LLMs, less stress on the CPU, and overall a smoother experience when running AI tasks. And the cord's 12 gigabytes of VRAM provides plenty of headroom for complex models and deep learning applications, which is what I'm starting to get into. All right, so I'm connected to my server, and what we have to do is enable IOMMU within Grub. So let's go down and do that right fast. And there is the grub file. You want to go to that, so it's under etc and then grub, and what you're looking for is the line that says grub command line Linux default. And depending on the CPU you have, you want to add Intel or AMD IOMMU equals on. And so you just put a space in here and make sure you type this all in right. So I have an Intel CPU chip, so let's turn it on, but IOMMU, and then we want to make that equals on. And all you have to do is put a space in between the quiet and the Intel. So just make sure you put a space in there, keep it within the double quotes, and that's pretty much it. So let's go down and save this. Boom. All right, so next what we have to do is update Grub and reboot the system. And it's a single command. I'll type it in right fast, but update tech Grub, and this will update Grub where it's on the system. And those changes that we made, it will add that to the system. And so when we reboot, we should have an active cord. All right, cool. So let's go down and reboot our Proxmox server, and I'll come back in a second. All right, so my server is back up. I'm connected to the Proxmox manager. And one thing I forgot to say was you could have made those changes in the shell right here in the browser. So if you click on shell, that'll open up a connection there. I just wanted to show you guys via SSH from my main system so you can see the commands clearer. But let's switch back over to my terminal right fast so I can open it up and we can verify that IOMMU is enabled. All right, and so let's connect back to our server. Another command right fast so I can bring it up to the top so you guys can see, but the message, and then we can grab or search for something specific. And what I'm looking for is the IOMMU. So if we type -E and let's see DMAR, and then let's also check for -E IOMMU and press enter, and you should be able to see right up in here IOMMU is enabled on the system. So now we have to bind our GPU to the VFIO driver. Let me show you guys how to do that. Let's use the LSPCI command, and then let's also grep for NVIDIA. Just see if we can find it right fast. So -I and then NVIDIA, and let's press enter, and boom, we see our RTX A2000 12 gig. So we're good to go. Now, one thing we need to find is the PCI address. So let me show you guys that, and that way we can add it to our configuration file for vfio.config in order to bind our GPU. So let me run one more command right fast, but at least we can see it using the LSPCI. But let's try a different command. Let's try -n. So LSPCI -n, and let's grab and let's see if we can get the actual ID. So let's go 00 or 01, and what I'm doing is typing in the number right here at the beginning. So let's do that. Press enter, and that'll give us our ID. So, and we need to make note of both of these because we have to put them into our configuration file. So what I'm gonna do is just copy them out, and then I'm gonna write them in a text box just to make sure I type it in right, and just type out the command. That's why a lot of times I'm copying and pasting, because I'll grab something, create the command in a text box, and then copy and paste it back into the system. And just to explain it right fast, just so you guys know, this is our GPU ID, which starts with the 10, and then this right here is the audio controller, just so you guys know, and we have to put that in the configuration file. And so I have my command written out, and let me go down and paste it in right fast, and I'll walk you guys through it. What it's going to do is echo out this information to this configuration file. So under etc modpro.d and then vfio.config, and what it's going to do is create an option for our IDs, meaning our video cord and our audio controller. And these are the IDs that we copied. So the 10DE:2571 and then the 10DE:228E. So both of those will be added to our configuration file. So let's go down and press enter. That'll add that to that configuration file for us. Now we need to update our initial RAM disk, and then we can reboot again. And we should have this as an option, and we'll verify our VFIO binding once we reboot. So let's go down and type this in. So updates tech INIT, and then RAM file system TACU, and this will update our initial RAM disk. And it's all based on the configuration changes that we made. And just so you guys know, we only had to do this because I already have Proxmox installed. If you install the cord, then install Proxmox, it should do all of this for you because it'll recognize the hardware and set it up so you can use it within your Proxmox. So that completed. Let's go down and we also didn't see any errors, so we good to go. So just type reboot the server one more time, and we should be good to go. The only reason I'm covering all of this because the videos I've seen out there, I haven't seen many people cover, you know, adding it to Proxmox. They just say, hey, add it to Proxmox, you should see it or whatever. But I wanted to do a little bit more detail, just show you guys exactly what to do. And there's information on how to do this depending on the type of cord that you're adding to your system. And this is all based on my cord. So all you have to do is look for the PCI address and then do the exact same thing I did, and that will add or bind your GPU to the server. All right, so my server is back up. Let me show you guys how to add the device. So basically all you have to do is go into hardware and then add a PCI device, and then map device. No, don't click under there because nothing will show up there. Just go to raw device. This will pass it directly to it, and you should see your video cord up in here. Boom, we can see it right there. So the RTX A2000, just select it, then go down and add it, and then at this point you just add your NVIDIA drivers to the server once you reboot, because you have to reboot anytime you add a new device or a new piece of hardware to a virtual machine, which this virtual machine is already running. You have to reboot that virtual machine, not the whole server, just a virtual machine, so it'll show up in the system. And here's the thing, this cord is efficient. It runs, like I said, at 70 watts TDP, which means I'm not stressing out my power supply or generating excessive heat. And the 12 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory on this thing is a huge advantage for handling the larger data sets I'm working with. All right, so let me quickly show you guys how to get the NVIDIA drivers installed on your Ubuntu server. The reason I'm doing this is because a lot of people tend to shy away from Linux because they had issues getting drivers installed and all that stuff. Well, Linux has come a long way, especially Ubuntu, when it comes to drivers, third-party drivers, NVIDIA drivers, and all that stuff. So you can get your graphics card up and running in no time on the system, especially if you're installing from scratch. It will recognize the NVIDIA card that you have and then recommend the drivers for you. But let me show you guys how to do it after the fact. And right now I'm logged in via SSH to one of my servers. And so let's run through and add the video cord to it. So, and actually I added the video cord within Proxmox, so it sees it, but you need to go down and install the drivers after the fact. So let me show you guys right fast. So all you have to do is type sudo and then apps update. Go down, update your system. If it's not up to date, then you want to run your updates on the system. Mine is fine. I just updated it not that long ago. So let's go down and install our dependency. And it's actually two. So sudo apps install. And then what you need is build essentials. And I'm going to tab it out. And then also you need DKMS, and just show you guys the packages right there. Super simple. Just install those two packages, and I've done this so many times for other graphics cards that I kind of got it down packed. That's why I say it's super simple once you learn how to do it. Nowadays, Linux has gotten a whole lot better with these drivers, so you should be good. But I'll skip ahead so you guys don't have to wait and watch this. All right, so it's done with installing those dependencies. Now, back in the day, I used to add a PPA, and I'm not sure I need it right now for this server edition. So I'm gonna just type in the command to see if it's actually there, but I'll also show you guys the PPA you can get installed in order to install specific drivers. So let's go sudo apps install, and then the package name is NVIDIA 535 driver. So let's see if it's there. And we don't have to add it. Okay, so there is the server, which is what we want. You can install the open or the regular. Let's go and install the server right fast. That way we're good to go. The ones that are included in the repository are more stable, so you shouldn't run into any issues with them. So I'll be back when this finishes. All right, cool. So our drivers are installed now. So let me just go down and reboot so we can make sure this one actually works. And I'll show you the other ones right fast. So I'll be back in a sec. All right, so our server is back up. And let me show you guys how to add the PPA. So all you gotta do is type sudo add tech apps and tech repository. And then what we want to add is our PPA and then ports, graphics. And like I said, I used to do this back in the day, man. And not that far ago, but you know, a couple years back, I was doing it this way by adding a PPA and then finding whatever drivers that we need for the graphics card that we're working on. So Ubuntu has made it super easy. You can add this PPA and then you can install your drivers. Now watch this right fast. So if you type Ubuntu drivers and then devices, what it's going to do is check your system and show you the recommended NVIDIA drivers for the card that you have in the system. So just press enter. It's going to check your system for everything, you know, PCI and all that stuff. And it'll list out, it'll find, see how it found our RTX A2000 12 gigabyte? Well, it'll show you all the drivers right there. So if you're having issues with one of the drivers, you can find it here. And then all you have to do is install the recommended driver. And I already have it installed. We went with the 535, which was that recommended version, and the one that was already in the repository. So we don't need to install it. Let's actually check it. So let's clear the screen right fast. Now,
NVIDIA, and then we could type SMI, and this will let us know if our GPU is added. And as you can see, it gives out all our information for the server. We got our CUDA version, driver version, GPU name, fan, all that stuff, you know, all this information right up in here. So you see the fan temperature. Look at that. It's only using 21 watts right now of the 70 watts of the graphics core. So we're good. It's very efficient, power efficient, all that good stuff. And right now we see that it's not running any processes, which is fine. That's only because we haven't utilized it. But that's how you install those drivers. So what's the real impact of this upgrade? Well, I'm already seeing a significant improvement in my LLM tasks. The A2000 offloads these intensive GPU tasks, freeing up my CPU to handle other things. And you guys know I have multiple services running on this server, like Plex and Docker containers like crazy throughout my home lab. And so this means faster processing time and an overall boost in performance. And for me, that's a game changer, especially when running multiple virtual machines and workloads on Proxmox. And while this core isn't designed for gaming, it can definitely handle it if you want to play some titles in 1080p or 1440p. Just don't expect to be cranking up the settings to ultra. But hey, for my needs, it's all about the AI and machine learning tasks, and this card is more than capable. And so that wraps up my hardware upgrade. The NVIDIA RTX A2000 is installed and running smoothly in my Proxmox server. So if you're looking for a compact, powerful GPU that's perfect for AI and machine learning tasks and fits into a tight space like the T140, this is the card to consider. Also, thanks again to the Tech Monkey for the initial recommendation and to CIQ for sponsoring this video. And if you like what you saw, go down and hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and as always, keep it techie. Whenever I talk to people, whenever I mentor people dealing with, you know, getting into tech, you got to figure out what you like or what you're interested in. Because yeah, a lot of people get into the, you know, tech field because you can make a good amount of money. The money is the motivator. But you also, in my opinion, in order for you to be happy, you got to like what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And so, like for me, a lot of times it doesn't feel like work, bro. Most times it really doesn't feel like work. Yeah, I'm doing something fun. I'm doing something I love to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's what makes it, you know, great for me.